What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing something a little different. We're gonna go over 6 exercises that most of you are doing wrong and I've seen my clients do wrong. So you're gonna be able to visually see what you're doing wrong, and then I can give you tips on how to really perfect that form. I've been coaching for 10 years, so these are a lot of the most commonly asked questions I get asked, so we're gonna go over them right now. Stick right to the end because the last one is what I'm always seeing wrong, and it's kind of hard to perfect. And also, guys, remember, this form is not corrected overnight. It's something that you gotta keep on doing. And often you're weaker in the form that I do show and design, and don't get frustrated because you'll get stronger in that form. That's the whole purpose. This is bodybuilding. We don't move weight A to B. A to B will get you muscle, but if you wanna sculpt the body, there has to be a reasoning from A to B. Before we get after it, I want to start with my all-in pre. This product's awesome because it's got a full dose of citrulline, which is 6 grams, full dose of beta-alanine, which is 3.2 grams. It also has your BCAAs in it too, which is awesome. It's got some really cool focus blends. So it's got your L-tyrosine, it's got your caffeine. It's got everything you need for a pre-workout. So if you're wondering why the scoop is so big, it's because you got that full serving of BCAAs in here. I'm not gonna do a full scoop because I'm soft and I can't handle that much caffeine. Let's get this going and show you guys what you're doing wrong. First, find a machine you can fit in, like me. To start, for leg press, it's foot positioning first. So here, we're actually gonna point our toes 15 degrees outward max. We're gonna maintain that. We want just within shoulder width. And the biggest thing is flaring the knees outward. That way, we can actually come lower, where we're actually gonna work the hamstring. If you keep your knees inward, you're not gonna get the same stretch. Yes, you'll be stronger in this position, but this is bodybuilding. We're trying to build more muscle. We gotta look at this as more of a thigh movement. So we're developing our quads, we're developing our hamstrings. The negative is what works the hamstrings. When we're pressing the weight, we wanna try and bring our feet down as low as we can without the heels lifting. Also, when I'm doing this, knees stay flared out, I'm controlling it deep, and I'm exploding as hard as I can, but without locking out. So there's constant tension on the legs. So it's down, controlled, pause, explode, right back down. There's no pausing at the top. Whole goal is constant tension on the legs. By doing this is a break. This is not serving any purpose. So you get stronger in this whole position here. This is not fixed overnight. It's something you gotta keep doing, stay at it. So if you find your heels lifting, just move your feet up a bit. And the more you can actually loosen up your Achilles, the more you can actually lower it down, so you can actually get a even deeper stretch in the VMO, in your teardrops, so you can actually develop bigger legs. That's the whole purpose. You gotta stay loose. And there's stretches I should show you that you should be doing prior to leg day. So last thing, it seems like a lot, but it takes time, like I said. It's also your breathing. So on the eccentric, so the negative, you're inhaling. On the concentric here, you're exhaling. And you actually gotta try and keep, even though I'm bulking, I got a lot of goddamn food in my stomach right now, you wanna try and not keep my stomach bloated like this. You wanna try and keep it in tight. That way you can come down deeper. So if I can do this right now, all of you can do it, because I'm eating 7,500 calories and I'm already out of breath. And I'm very full right now. Simple as that. So probably some of you are wondering or asking me, well, that's not full range of motion. For legs, it's a little different. At the top of the contraction, there's no end contraction here. We're trying to keep constant tension on the leg. So coming up 3/4 of the way pretty much and going right back down. So it's not about locking the knees out, because from here to here, this doesn't do anything. This is not building any muscle. So movements that were more isolating a muscle group, for example, like leg extensions, leg curls, yes, you're going through the full contraction, so it's full range of motion, but it's different when it comes to a leg press, when it comes to a squat, when it comes to a pendulum or a hack squat. Those you do not need to lock out at the top because there's nothing there, there's no tension there. You're not coming to the top and squeezing your quad. This is just a rest. This is a break. This is all people are doing. That's why they come to the top. Take a deep breath. So I'll say that's fine if you need to come up and rest for a second. But the whole goal is to stay in that pain threshold. And how much pain can you really take? That's what sets you apart from everyone else. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. and you gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Bodybuilding is not easy. It's not easy to build muscle. Although there are some genetic freaks still train their ass off. They get all their meals in. It's not as easy as it looks on Instagram. You know, it's a highlight reel, guys. So pay attention to your form, smarten up, lessen the weight, grow some damn legs. All right, guys, on to the next one. Let's go. So number 2, exercise that I see a lot of people doing wrong. This is actually really tricky to execute properly because with the form I explained, you're gonna be reducing your weight by half, but that's fine. The whole purpose is to grow your hamstrings, isolate the muscles. So what I see most commonly wrong, think of it like a bicep curl. This is a proper bicep curl. People are curling, they're doing this on a hamstring curl. So they're almost doing a drag curl. So I'll show you and demonstrate for you on here. Improper form. So people are here, see how my butt lifts? This is not proper form, but people will do this because they can lift a lot more weight. So before, when I was doing that form, yes, I can max it out, but now I've actually worked my way up to maxing it out with the form I'm gonna show you. This is a little tricky, so there's little pointers and tips I'm gonna show you here. So when you get into the machine, instead of being straight down, you're gonna be propped up a bit, feet together, and this portion of your midsection needs to come off the pad a little bit. So it's almost like a space here. That way, it's forcing your glutes down, and you physically will not be able to lift your glutes this form, but it's gonna be a lot heavier. See, no butt lift. Also, I'm controlling the negative. So it's a controlled negative, it's an explosive concentric, forcing a squeeze at the top, and then repeating. Controlled negative, explode up, squeeze. Also, on the negative, you gotta fully lengthen the hamstring. There's no half hamstring stretch, it's a full lengthen. No different than the bicep. You don't grow biceps by doing this. It's a full range of motion, squeezing. Controlled, squeezing. With your toes, you're also gonna wanna point them when you're doing a hamstring curl. That'll actually help isolate the hamstring better. So instead of most people are doing it this way, in curling, you're gonna be able to do it this way. So no different than my wrist when I'm curling. We're in a strong position, then we're putting all tension on the bicep, we're not having a dead wrist in curling. Exercise number 3 is easy bar supinated grip. So your underhand grip, which I definitely prefer over, a wide grip lat pull down. This is gonna help really isolate your lats, and I promise you your lats will be on fire if you do this properly. So there's a few things you can do. So a lot of people like to sit in the machine, but some people find, if you find yourself rocking too much, it's gonna feel weird, but you can sit here and actually have your feet back. So you literally can't swing unless you can somehow fold like a sandwich and the other way around, then I don't know. But the whole purpose here is also, yes, my grip is the underhand, but you also wanna force the elbows inward, so almost over exaggerated. So you're coming here, it's a deep stretch, and you're coming down. Squeezing, keeping the elbows inward, especially on the negative. Another big thing is how you're gripping this. So this is more like a hook. So your kind of hands like this, it's not underneath, it's over top. It's like a hook holding onto it. So it's coming here, you actually feel a way deeper stretch. Squeeze. I'll be honest with you guys, back is the toughest muscle group for most of us, even myself. So I've always had a very tough time activating my lats, and this exercise is like a game changer. I find no matter who you are, this form, this exercise, you will feel your lats, and it'll be a crazy pump after one set. So you get wings, you fly away, just like that. All right guys, let's fly away to the next exercise. Next one, let's go. Chest flies. So this is number 4. It's another exercise I see a lot of you doing wrong. So when people are doing this, they're coming here, and they're swinging too much. And they're also letting their shoulders come over top. So the whole secret, it's not that complicated. It's like little simple things that make a huge difference. So chest up, and we're not swinging, we're controlling for a deep stretch, controlled, and it's almost like you're trying to bring your biceps together, not the hands. So if you actually feel here, there's not much tension on my chest right now. As soon as I bring it out, I'm trying to bring my biceps together, you feel a lot more tension on the chest. Control, and breathing. Exhaling like concentric. I swear most people hold their breath, especially when I see them training, they're going red in the face. You gotta inhale, It's no different than posing. When we go on stage, I don't go hit a most muscular and go and hold my breath. You're blowing out to get a proper contraction in the muscle so that everything comes alive. It's no different than we're doing a fly movement. Simple. All right, one last thing, guys. Foot positioning. So some people like to have their feet here, which is gonna force you to swing. There's no stability. Just have one foot forward. That way, there's way more stability when you're doing. You're not rocking. Be able to stay in this position here and focus on the squeezing. All right, number 5. We were gonna do dumbbell laterals. A lot of people have a really tough time feeling this properly and actually executing proper form. So I see often people almost pinching their traps when they're doing this, and they're not flaring their lats. So it's actually, you don't have to over exaggerate the lat, but you're trying to create like more of a hinge movement. So the lat is slightly flared, so you're coming to here. So also when you're doing this, it's not straight out. You're actually gonna come forward 15 degrees forward and keeping the lat slightly flexed when you're doing it. It's more like a hinge. So when I see people doing it incorrectly, they're kind of pinching their traps and they're getting a crazy pump in their traps when they're doing this. So, and even when you're doing this, you're lifting with the elbows, not with your hands. So the elbows are coming up. It's almost like you're swinging away. All right, guys, so the final one that drives me the most crazy, RDLs. To be honest with you, this is a really tricky one. Most people go way too heavy. I see people doing 4-plate RDLs, but to be honest, you're not loading the hamstring, you're loading the back. So if you're trying to build a great back, yeah, sure, go heavy, but the whole purpose of this is your hamstring. Before we do anything, I want you guys to try this. So to learn how to push your glutes back, which is creating a stretch in the hamstring, that is all you have to focus on, is pushing the glutes back. You don't need to focus what's in your hands. So when we're starting, try and start a little closer to a wall or to something. I want you to stand here, and push the glutes back and try and touch. So see how I can touch it pretty easily? Step forward a bit, try and do it again. That's a little too far. So stand here, and just kind of come forward a little bit more, just to show you how much you can really push the glutes back. So you're trying to touch the wall. The more you can push back, the deeper the stretch in the hamstring. So great way to learn to push back in the glutes and not focus on, going down. It's more, as soon as you push back, you're gonna come down. So that's all you need to really focus on, is the glutes going back. All right, guys, so foot positioning, inside shoulder width. Even when you're doing this, you can actually have the toes inward very slightly, creating slight adduction. So if you see my knees, instead of outward like we're doing, like I showed you on leg press, we're going inward. That way you actually have better balance too. So when you push back, you're not falling over. Come here, so slight adduction inward, and I'm pushing glutes back as far as I can, like I'm trying to close the door. As soon as that stops moving, the bar stops moving. So to further move it, people do this. That's back. That's not hamstrings. So we're here, you pause, come back up. Push your glutes back. That's a max stretch. Back up. All right, guys, that's a wrap for the 6 exercises. And don't get too frustrated with this form, because I'm telling you, it takes time to perfect. So you might not get it in a week or 2, maybe a month, but it's one of those things you just gotta keep at it and get stronger in that form. So strength is only relevant with that form. So don't get away from it, stay within that form. I'm telling you guys, you're gonna grow, you're gonna put muscle on, that's the whole point. Let me give you guys a quick example. When you start training the first year, you're gonna put muscle on pretty much no matter what you do. When you get deeper into the sport, like myself, we've been doing it for 13 years, you gotta be more precise with your training in order to keep putting muscle tissue on. It gets more complicated, and it's not as simple as A to B moving. So if there's any exercises you guys have questions about, just comment below, and catch you on the next one. Peace.